Okay, so Velomachus, I think honestly, is the best Reanimator target in this format. So 5/5 flying, vigilance, haste. When it attacks, look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may cast an instant sorcery spell with mana value less than or equal to its power, and then put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. So we'd played a Mardu Velomachus deck that was a Reanimator deck. We played a Jeskai Velomachus deck with Time Warp. And now we're kind of taking these two things and shoving them together here. So this is a base Jeskai deck. If you look at our spells here, Unburial Rites is the only black card, and this has a white flashback. So the key thing here is we could use things like Faithless Looting and Thrilling Discovery to discard this card from our hand so we can cast it for just white mana. We do have a small smattering of black lands: Triome, Blood Crypt, Dragonskull Summit, Isolated Chapel, and Prismari Command technically makes black mana off the treasure token. So we can cast the front half. However, that's not what we're always going to do. We have Scholar of the Lost Troves here as a second thing to allow us to reanimate in addition to this, and this can flash back Time Warp just like Velomachus can cast Time Warp from our deck to take extra turns when we go. Spooky Jeskai is a great way to call it. So let's go ahead and dive on into some games with this and see how our Reanimator combo control deck can do here. 2468, thanks for the 3/4 of a year, welcome back. Someone in chat said, I'm looking to build a Ponza deck. Have any suggestions for that? Ponza, my YouTube channel I plugged a little bit ago, is one of the many decks we've played up there. So if you want to see my preferred build of Ponza, you can check that out. You can also check the last Hoaglandia Open. One of the members of the community top 8'd that tournament. You can find the previous coverage with matches of them playing, as well as the deck lists from that tournament up on my website there. I went a year without spending on MTGA, and I'm $75 into this set. It's a really good set, Dimstar. Historic is great. All right, so we've got a sweeper, and we've got these, but we don't have any way to get things into the bin, so I think I mulligan this on 7. This is fine. I bought him a Scholar here. Don't need 2 of those. This card is so much better than Cathartic Reunion, chat. Could you imagine getting a Cathartic Reunion memory lapsed? You just like would take your deck and spike your laptop into the garbage can and just like go do something else. Just like nope off it. Teamer Flash is probably a hard matchup for us, if I had to venture a guess. I like this archetype that our opponent's playing a lot. It's one of the decks that pulled us up into Mythic last week. Do you have a Nightpack Ambusher? They do. I don't think we're going to be able to race that one. Yep. Yep. And they have us dead on board here already, so they have a counterspell we lose. But opponent's archetype is very good against these big mana combo decks. Do exactly like what you saw there. They get on board quickly and then run you down. I unfortunately only have 2 sweepers here. A lot of our other pieces of interaction don't line up particularly well against the big wolf. I guess Chandra technically lines up okay there. Chandra's kind of neat in our archetype too, because in addition to being utility that generates card advantage, she also down ticks to remove things, and she can ramp us as well. Does a lot of different things. Use like every bit of the Chandra Buffalo here. Afternoon Cynical. Okay. Well, so far, our mana seems very functional, at least. This matchup isn't too bad post-board. I mean, we're not really changing super meaningfully post-board. Gaining like 2 cards, basically. Yikes. Hey, Fane, thank you for the entire year. Let's make sure you got a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Welcome back. I'm gonna hop on our bicycle here. It honestly could be right against their counterspell heavy deck to keep Unburial Rites in hand since we have black mana and try and cast it twice. Goobus Maximus. Thanks for shipping your Bezo bucks this way this month. There's a lot of people you could drop those off with here on Twitch. Thanks for sending them my way. Let's get our loot on here. Actually, that's a tricycle. Boo! Boo this Twitch chatter. Alright, chat. Set tire spinning to maximum. Am I discarding the Scholar? I feel like I'm not. We've got so many lands. No Night Pack here is absurd. I mean, imagine how flooded we'd be if we didn't have looting to get through all of these, huh? That's phenomenal. Okay, so... we just get to pass now? That's so awkward, Niv. Thank you for sharing, but it's awkward that they have to do that to get... I'm so spoiled by MTG Melee and the data that they provide. Alu, thanks for the follow. Yeah, it felt like Gearhulk was happy there. Maybe they want to wait until they can protect it, expecting us to have counter magic post board. It's not unreasonable. Hello. If they have Dispute into Gearhulk or Rewind into Gearhulk, we get got. Alright, no Hulk is great for us. Them disrupting us while not having pressure in play is not a big deal. Yeah, the more I see Runeterra's multi-deck format play out, the more I think it's probably not good in terms of diversity of decks in their game. Really feels like it's pretty narrow and stifling. Hanaku, thanks for the follow. One thing that I wish Wizards was more transparent about their magic data a bit. I would really love to see what the stats are on. Like, I would love to be able to compare MTG Melee tournaments to ladder metagame. Because like my anecdotes are obviously anecdotes, but I feel like the ladder formats are more diverse than the MTG Melee formats are. So it almost feels like from a communicating diversity of their game standpoint, they kind of do themselves a disservice not sharing more info. Like I'd be really surprised if, you know, the average historic 5K is more diverse than what you play against in like the Mythic Ladder, for example. Alright. This kills the token. Okay. We're done here. Counterspells. Counterspells really beat up these go big, do the thing decks. Kind of geared to have counterplay against the aggressive decks in the format. I don't think, like, calling Flash decks Gandalf decks really shows kind of a misunderstanding of what the archetype is. Honestly, the Gear Hulk decks in general probably shouldn't be classified as that. Yorian. Sultai Ultimatum's probably not terrible if that's what they're doing. I think I'm gonna poke back into Runeterra on the next set drops. Nah, probably not. I don't envision another card set fixing the problems that I have with their game. They seem to want to push their game in a direction that I don't really enjoy. And Magic's, as long as Magic's good, I'm probably not gonna be playing other card games. Well, clearly we should have played a Shockland on one and cycled the Savai Triome. You cannot buy old anthologies. You can craft them for wild cards, though. And honestly, a lot of the anthologies really aren't worth purchasing. Like, a lot of them have cards that you'll never use. You already had one of those today. Mommy said you can have a second? Alright, deal. As long as you approved it with the boss.
The moon boss.
The moon boss?
The moon boss means.
You think Mom's on the moon? No, I'm pretty sure she's in the house. Is there a house on the moon?
No.
No. Planet Earth?
The moon.
Alright, well that was a thrilling looting. Get to shift through some of these lands here. Jacob has his quirks, but bold-faced lies usually aren't one of them. Until proven otherwise, I generally believe him when he comes out and he says his mom told him something. Hard style junk. No, Matt, please. Thanks for the follows. Well, they're a Scut Swarm deck. Alright, things are gonna get a little out of control over there, chat. Okay, so if I do this, even if I make a treasure, I can't still quite flash this back this turn, so I guess we're on the looting. Yeah, Declan can be hit or miss. I think our opponent's about to deck themselves, chat. That's incredible. So they've got Risen Reef that says whenever an elemental enters play, you get to look at the top card of your deck and put lands into play. And then Maskwood Dexys made all of their Scut Swarms elementals. I'm gonna let them flip their deck over. I assume there's an Oracle in there. I wonder if the client crashes. $50, 56 triggers on the stack right now. They have to, like, stop putting lands into play, right? Or they could lose. Friendship with Jeff ended. New friendship with Y-Tech begun. Rough. Yeah, so they don't lose off of Reef. Because yeah, this technically is a drug, right? It's like putting a card into your hand. What's been the best deck today so far? Red-white combo tokens was good. And 5-color Niv was good. Hallowed one was good too. Like the only one the only deck we played that I'd classify as kind of middling was the Yarok Landfall deck. Had some medium games. Can that run out of rope? I don't actually know. I just want to, like, confirm what their win con is after the fact. Like, I assume it's Thassa's Oracle, but I'd also like to see. We should have held up Prismari Command. How funny would that be if we Prismari commanded them at the very end? We could have also shattered the Masculine decks to not get comboed, right? So that's something to think about, being able to hold this up in games 2 and 3. It's a good thought. Why do they not have a rope but Tainted Pack? Because they're technically taking different actions. Wait, did it end their turn? Wait, did their rope run out? No, they have a timeout. Are they currently trying to discard their 62 card hand? All right, I'm not gonna make you all wait, and I'm not gonna make them do it. Listen, chat, they deserve that one. We're gonna give it to them. Is this a rip-apart matchup? It seems like they play the artifact the turn they combo, probably, right? I definitely want the Clarions to clear Scut Swarms. Bonecrusher seems good for killing their thing as well. Maybe we, like, trim a couple of Scholars and a Thrilling Discovery. Seems fine. Honestly, I could probably go down to 2 of these, because this loots as well. They were LSPing us the whole time, and their win con is concession. Maybe. Maybe. Sounds great. This loots these into the bin, and it gives us a treasure, so we don't even need to draw a 4th land. We're gonna have Upkeep Command. I assume they had Thassa's Oracle in their deck and accidentally clicked through it, Alec. Would be my assumption. This card is such a good combo enabler. It like kills Cage, it puts stuff in your bin, it answers random stuff that they have. This is 4 other mana. That's cute. You can mutate it onto Scud Swarm. Let's do the time warp again. Actually, let's do this. And then this. Got him. All right. I think we mulligan this. This is like interaction, but we're like nowhere near doing our thing, even though we have all of our colors. Should I buy this deck or Dead Guy? Well, the Dead Guy deck's definitely my favorite deck in the format at the moment. This is a viewer submission that we're like 2 games into, so I have no idea how I feel about it. It probably depends on like what style of deck you want to play too, right? Like the style of deck that this deck is and the style of deck that the Dead Guy AL deck is are very, very different. So like if you want to play a combo deck, I definitely wouldn't recommend building the Dead Guy deck. But if you want to build something fair, it's a great choice. Nah, we did a standard submission this morning and it was just bad again, so I think I'm gonna be off a standard until rotation happens. There'll be one standard video going up to the YouTube channel today, but that's gonna be the last one for a while. The Dead Guy is a black-white tempo deck. Low to the ground creatures and disruptive stuff. Any recommendations for Glint Sleeve replacement Dead Guy? Not really. That card's a pretty unique effect. There aren't really other 2-mana cards that generate card advantage like that one does. So, putting Time Warp into the bins. Wait, they're playing Collected Company? What even is this deck? Well, that's about how I expected Collected Company to go in their Yorion deck, so, you know. Yikes. None of those are the Velomachus I wanted for Christmas, but here's another Time Warp. I'm gonna loot plus make a treasure. Because when we find this... I found the land too, I suppose. Let's do the time warp again. It's just a hop to the left and a skip to the right. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Be do 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 do. get a timeout for your 1 year anniversary? Of course you can, Keck. Thanks for the entire year of support. Hey, there's our big giant flying monsters. That's what we're looking to do. That's what we're looking to accomplish, chat. Floop, big monster, and big monster the second in attack. Take some turns, mix it up. Sure. I wouldn't want you to feel left out, Synicalizer. We aim to please here. Can we do this? Yes. Yes, we do. Look at that. Looting even making sure that this Robber of the Rich can't draw a card. Will put us down a card. It is taking turns Reanimator, yeah. Kind of mashes up the two other decks we've tried. Ooh, they have a Black Splash in their deck. That's interesting. Vodrock. Oh, did I write Vodrock in the cube? No. No, we didn't have any Vodrock decks in the cube. The Time Warp is from Rocky Horror Picture Show. A true theater classic. Let's go all in on finding our combo stuff here. Nice. Okay. So next turn we'll get to... Yeah, I'm pretty sure Rocky Horror Picture Show is older than me. Alright, so let's get this and attack this. Then we can Time Warp.
Well, that was a disaster.
We can attack. We can get Unburial Rites. Unburial Rites gets Scholar. Scholar casts Time Warp. Burial Rites. Scholar. Scholar cast Time Warp. I'm glad we're getting a chance to really pop off. The first game was a little bit sad, but it's all coming together. These last couple. Clarion sounds great. This could be a rip apart matchup. It could be worth hedging the fact that they have we can have some graveyard hate here. And because I'm bringing in these, we trim the Bonecrushers. I still have this as a deal too. Decent shells are on Time Warp. Speaking, I know I've heard a number of people complain about Time Warp. For the record, in the historic tournaments we've had so far, and it's still early, things could change as things get optimized, but so far the Time Warp decks have mostly been getting stuffed in boxes in the tournaments. Like I think blue-green taking turns was the 4th most played deck in the 5K yesterday, and it had like a 15% win rate or something like that at the end of the tournament. It was really bad. Works out nicely. Clarion, my wayward son, there'll be peace when you are gone. Lay your weary heads to rest. Do 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 do. Yikes. We've got huge tracts of land. Well, okay. Can clean up later. Deafening Clarion. Clean up on aisle 3. A reference I understood that time. Yeah, I like to mix in a little supernatural whenever I get the chance. No! JK, lol. For those of you taking notes at home, you should take note that we skillfully left the card we needed on top. And like, I've got 2 bricks here, but like I've got redraws right here, champ. Your move, Yugi boy. Oh no! I think we've drawn all of our time warps. That's so awkward. We'll get to win next turn. Because we have these. That's kind of funny, because there's 2 in the bin, right? Yeah. Get that life link, Mr. Lorehold. Do it. Splashing black for discard spells in Gruul seems real loose. Especially in the collected company version of Gruul. I don't think splashing in Gruul sounds terrible, but if you are gonna splash, it should probably only be for creatures if you're playing collected company. Like, honestly, if you wanted to splash and play Naya Company for Elite Spellbinder, that actually sounds kind of sweet. Hey, Palmir, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Catch you later, Windmagus. I'll be back again tomorrow morning as usual. Got another hour or so tonight, though. I give this deck a fair shake. What's going on, Demon Command and Boss? Good evening. It's been a while since we've streamed to a point where I can say good evening. Rabaku. I'm trying a blue splash for Decisive Denial. Oh, that's the fight negate card, right? That seems fine. Yeah, and again, like you could splash a lot more freely when you're not playing the company version. I believe Gruul tends to be favored against the control decks. We should get some more data. We should get some metrics on that from MTG data this week, though, I imagine. Evening Firehawk. Got a new CPU, the computer's still dead. That's the worst when you identify the wrong part. Like, ugh. Why is the Time Warp deck bad? Because it's not particularly fast and it's not particularly interactive. If you look at the deck, again, like, you basically need to be asking yourself, you need to be able to do one of two things in this format. You either need to be able to kill your opponent by the 4th turn of the game, goldfishing if they're ignoring you, or you need to be able to stop them from killing you. If you can't do either of those things, you're going to have a really bad time. Now, this matchup's probably hard for us. It's actually probably better than the Flash matchup, though. Because 1, they mill us into our combo pieces, and 2, Deafening Clarion and our spot removal is much better here. One of the big problems we have against the Flash matchup with this deck is there are things outside our pieces of spot removal. Well, where did the term goldfishing come from? From you're playing against a goldfish. Your opponent's not doing anything meaningful. Do they not have anything? Wow, way to get my hopes up. Hey, Jackson, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. 33 cards in deck. Oh, I guess I don't have another Unburial Rites to flash back, so I should go directly for the dragon this time. Yeah, that's awkward. I guess I get to do this. Wow, is their hand just like a bunch of fatal pushes and stuff? It's gotta be, right? Evening Space Age. They could have a bunch of draw fours, I guess. Alright, so they're actually just dead. Wild. Sometimes lucky. Yeah, into the stories and fatal pushes? It must be. Okay, so is it crazy to just like move off of the combo plan for the most part here? Like, what if we like cut Faithless? I guess Faithless Looting they mill us into. What if we like cut Thrill of Discovery and like cut Scholar? And like do this. I guess Scholar flashing back sweepers was good like it was there. What if we move off of what do I want to cut? Do I need Prismari Command? I feel like I like looting because we can use it to filter when they bin it for us. Like this has utility to dig for sweepers and answers when they bin it. You think I like that? I'm gonna cut the Prismari commands and the. I guess this is interaction. want to get rid of looting and thrilling? Yeah, I guess this technically kills stuff. It kills Luris too. All right, we'll leave all the things in that killer stuff. Harry potting. Easy mulligan. Sure. I think we keep the double sweeper here, huh? I guess we could put the dragon on the bottom. I took all my looting out of my deck. Yeah, let's do that actually. Let's just put the dragon on the bottom and keep just mono interaction. This puts both these into play untapped, which is gas. That one guy who? And Pass a Killer. Passler? I switch usernames. Do we dispute a 2-drop here? I think so. Because, like, there's a good chance they're going to be able to counter the Clarion the following turn. It could also be right to let it hit play just to let it mill me for. To work towards a hit for this. It's pretty good. Okay. It says, this is kind of cute in Rogues. It technically mills me 3-2, right? On our tricycle here. Are we casting Explore next turn? I feel like we might be. Percentage of rogues you've played against today? Maybe 1 in 6 or 7. I don't know. I don't really like to answer questions like that you could answer empirically by, like, going off the cuff anecdotally. This works out well for us. They know about Wrath of God. So, like, if they fight over this, I get to sweep both of these. Yeah. Gives them enough cards in the bin to draw a card with this. I like casting the Wrath of God there, because they almost assuredly have Thoughtseize in against me post-board, and I'd rather... Jamming white-black to moderate success, been testing Semester's End and really liking it. Semester's End, that's the... What is Semester's End? I don't know what that card does. Is that the one that blinks your board? Oh, yeah, that's really slow and clunky. Anytime, like, your board's big enough for that card to be good, you should probably be winning most of the time anyways. Basically, a race to see if they can hit a draw 4 or if we could hit a... Well, I assume if they brought up black-white, they mean Dead Guy, the Dead Guy deck we've worked on. Anti-Wrath for control. Yeah, I think your control matchup's really good. Like, you have Redain, and you have all these other cards that are, like, already good against control, so I wouldn't, like, control's not quite popular enough to, like, overboard for it. I'd much rather, like, just have discard spells. You discard spells, Dahlia, Redain. And the number of times you can afford to hold up 4 mana against control is like pretty few and far between, especially when you're a Thalia deck. So it's like you have to hold up 5 mana. You know, this is probably a Chandra matchup, isn't it? So let's just, like, turn full in onto Jeskai control here, I think. They have cages and clings, making our Unburial Rites and our other graveyard stuff super awkward. It's not amazing, but seems keepable. Ox made this matchup non-existent. I don't believe that that's the case at all. The Rogues deck has plenty of answers to things, like even Clinging Cage, right? In fact, boarding in a card like Ox against them when they're already boarding in a bunch of graveyard hate against you seems like, eh. I believe that it probably makes the matchup better, but like implying that it's like suddenly becomes free or something like that because of that is probably a pretty big misrepresentation of how it works out. See, chat? This is why you play one Wrath of God and one Day of Judgment. So when they test of talents you, they don't take the second one out of your hand. Got him. And unfortunately, this is going to give them enough. It's going to give them enough to be able to sack these. This is no longer a 2-for-1, even if it resolves. Brutal. Opponent skillfully dodging the creatures we could want to reanimate here. Yeah, I think so, Paint Bucket. Think of it this way. Rogues is mono blue tempo, only in addition to mono blue tempo having actual counterspell and drown in the lock, they also get to play murder. Like their counterspell is also a removal spell. And like I actually found playing against mono blue pretty interesting a lot of the time, because the key to playing against mono blue was you needed to set up turns to sequence a way to get something on the board, and then you got ahead if you sneak something through their counter magic. But the rogues deck gets to play hard removal on top of that, so you don't get rewarded in the same way against rogues that you would against mono blue. Because they can just kill your thing. And instead of playing Curiosity, so like creature removal beat mono blue's card advantage, whereas the opponent's archetype gets to play a 4-mana draw that doesn't care about their creatures. Yeah, they also get to play Thoughtseize and Inquisition to make it harder to get good spell sequences against them. I think their deck is much, much better than mono blue ever was, offers way less counterplay on average. And then we're just dead here, right? I guess maybe these aren't counter spells, and maybe the top 2 cards of their decks aren't counter spells. Maybe. Survey says. And that's like, you know, think about how the person that submitted the deck was in chat talking about how they felt Ox improved the matchup. And while Ox definitely helps, I want you to like think about how that game played out, for example, right? And like, they just countered every meaningful spell I played every turn. So like, even if you have something like Ox, sure, you escape the Ox, but then that just gets memory lapsed or drowned in the lock just like everything else. And it didn't matter that it was free out of your graveyard because they're killing you with cards in your hand anyways. Now, the one small upside Rogues has over something like Mono Blue is Rogues does get hosed by a card like Rest in Peace. So the fact that you can play a sideboard hoser and beat their tempo deck with it is a nice upside. It's why a lot of my white decks have had that in it. But I mean, like, even Ceratops isn't the ace like it was against Mono Blue, right? Like, they have like actual hard removal and they have Thoughtseize. So long, Clarion. We'll get to stomp on the Spellbinder. Oh, this looks like red-white mid-range. Opponent's archetype's very sweet. One of the decks I've really enjoyed in the format. Oh. Sure. Oh. Huh. Well. Now we just looting, right? It says, this is a little greedy. They're gonna play their main deck Redain here and just punish us. Whoop! That's just a Chandra.
When people start screaming, I know I'm on track.
Maybe I was supposed to put Time Warp in the bin rather than the second Unburial Rites. I could have cast the other Unburial Rites from hand if I'd cast Time Warp, right? Yeah, I think I messed this up here. Hopefully it's not gonna matter.
This'll be easy.
Do this. I could also do this and then play into Clarion. I think this is the play. So we go land, Time Warp. Oh, and then they're just dead. They're just dead to the Time Warp, right? Because they paid 4. Yeah, it didn't matter. I wasn't thinking about the fact they went to 10. I think even if they weren't dead there with the Clarion, we were going to be okay. All right, so they're going to have Rest in Peace post-board. And we actually, our deck's actually a little soft as constructed to Rest in Peace. Maybe I want 3 or 4 rip aparts. Like this Conqueror's Death is probably too cute. Andreev, thanks for the follow. Tris, good evening. Howdy, Silent Shout. Silent Shout. Okay, I'm not gonna think about it too hard. Evening, Luna. The Silent Shout created deafening silence. Good, asking the real questions. That's such a cop-out, Padel. The reason why they don't make lands legendary anymore is because it feels bad to want to play multiple of the same land and then get punished for drawing 2 of them. Yeah, there's a design decision. There's a design decision in Magic Arena that during the loading screen it just is eerily silent. Let's call it a choice. All right, well, they haven't ripped us yet. No Thalia, no Redeem. They mulligan? They have Helix against us post-board. I guess it's Reach. Thanks for the 20 months, Sojourner. Welcome back. That's fair. That's fair. You gotta... to keep the flavor police happy. Yeah, there it is, chat. Hurried. Alright, time to start casting copies of Boros Charm. I think we probably want a couple more ways to take Rest in Peace off the table. Honestly, the full four Terra parts probably not bad. Hey, Deebs, thanks for the half year. We'll see him take Wrath of God here. They take Wrath of God, Time Warp as Explorer can still get us to it in 2 turns. Don't you dare! Don't you dare! Whew! We didn't get Mana Tithed yet. We didn't get Mana Tithed. The brilliance of playing game 1 as a broken combo deck is sharply contrasted from the sideboard usually. Yeah, definitely, Topher. And honestly, that's what I like about Magic as a best of 3 game, right? Like, is there's counterplay, you know? Just board in Chandra here. She can ramp us into our threats, which is nice. Honestly, with the Chandras, we probably only need a 3rd rip apart. It's like planning to cast our stuff with Chandras not super unreasonable. Not super quick, but the opponent's deck is more of a mid-range deck. They're not a 1-drop aggressive deck, so have in all the colors here, and Chandra to wrap up into Big Daddy Dragon sounds great. Vanguard on 2's very good. You know, I honestly don't even know that I'm supposed to do this here. I think I'm going to hang on to it for now. Hoping to fade Elite Spellbinder and Redain here. I guess I get to cast Chandra next turn regardless. The problem is she dies. I wonder if we can see him take the dragon. There's honestly arguments for them taking any of these cards here, depending on what their hand looks like. Do do do. Do 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 do. Huh. I think I just trade this for Spellbinder plus 3 points of damage.
You wanna go, tough guy? Oh, that's nasty.
Yep,
Whatever.
she's dead.
Figure it out on your own.
Figure it out on your own. Well, poop. None of those are the Deafening Clarion I wanted for Christmas, chat. This card's so good. This card might be the best, like, permanent based hate card in the format, honestly. The fact that, like, the shield's good against aggro and the backside's good against combo and control is nuts. Sure. Yeah, I mean, a big part of what makes it playable is not dying to stomp, right? Well, you have standard rogues. Rogues in Historic is actually one of the better performing decks right now. It's put up finishes at the last couple of events that have happened. I think it's a very reasonable choice. Get some solid upgrades, Brainstorm, Thoughtseize, Memory Lapse. Even up with Revel in Silence here, they might just Time Walk us out of the game. Silly opponent. I'm supposed to be the Time Warp deck. Yeah, I think we're... Yep. Alright, we're dead to Bonecrusher or Helix here. Yeah, wow. Super impressive game there. The red-white mid-range deck is really good. It's got the tools to be competitive in basically every matchup. But I'm gonna put one more Rip Apart in our sideboard to counterplay Rest in Peace and redeem a little bit more. Evening, Yui. Got this Conquer's Death. Got one more in here with this one, and I think we'll call it a day. Been live for a little over 8 hours. Gonna format and publish some YouTube stuff, and hang out with the family for a few hours before we wake up and do it again tomorrow. Well then. That's really good. Okay. Nice. What's going on, Mike? Yeah, he's really funny. Amzan counters here, looks like. It's gonna elect to not be greedy here and go ahead and 2-for-1 this. Kind of a 2-for-1, because like their Jade Light drew a card. Like Crypt and Company resolves, I guess. So... I think I'm gonna murder the Jade Light, make a treasure here. And then any untapped land lets me Lorehold next turn. I want to kill it in response to the Explorer triggers. This can't pump it up to 3 toughness or more. So Unburial Rites or any untapped land is great next turn. Sweeper also good. Yeah. Man, that's a big in. Alright, I guess if we brick, I get to Bonecrusher still. Killed it. Crunch. This gets to get another one back, which gets a time warp back. Hey, Tiger, thanks for the 26 months. Welcome back. I think I just assume that they're going to have Graveyard Hate post board here. Just bring in those. Honestly, bringing in these and pivoting off of some of the graveyard stuff probably makes sense most of the time. What's going on, Zenith Live? Thanks for the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome to the channel. I don't think I want Chandra here because they're kind of aggressive, so they can pressure her off the table. Might reassess that for game 3 if it happens when we're on the play, if they have a lot of graveyard hate. Like if they have a lot of graveyard hate, maybe we'll sub some Unburial Rites out for some Chandra as a ramp card. Yeah, this looks fine. Kill this mentor before it can power up anything else. When this deck gets to accomplish its goal, it does something fairly powerful. Has a pretty aggressive start here. Gotta kill that, because if I try and play this out, this will be a 5/5 next turn, and I can no longer block it. They have a Coco here. Scary. Just like hope they brick, huh? That is not a brick, chat. If they don't have Coco 2, the Electric Boogaloo, we have a shot here. Average Coco kills us, though. That'll do, pig. Alright, didn't see any Graveyard Hate. Honestly, it's probably hard for them to play too much Graveyard Hate with, being a Coco deck. Probably on Scavenging Ooze, because it's a counters card, too. I think I'm happy with how I board him. Leave the reanimation plan our primary goal. And these, good evening. This is pretty good. With like a untapped land here, but hopefully this propels us into some lands. Yeah, Cleric or Scavenging Ooze are the best collected company related graveyard hate pieces for sure. Great. Do they have some interaction here, or do we just get to race them? Yeah, there's that Scavenging Ooze. And they left the Unburial Rites in there, which is interesting. So that means when I get to loot away this next thing, we get to... Yarok was a dumpster fire. I mean, it was a gorgeous dumpster fire. We got to make a bunch of triggers a couple of times, but yeah, it wasn't very competitive. Hey, Niv, we played your namesake card today, BT Dubs. 5-color Niv was the first historic deck we played today, and it's actually pretty sweet. You know, I'm gonna loot and make a treasure, actually. Because if we hit untapped land here, yeah, obviously I'm going for this because we didn't drop it. They shocked in their 5th land to imply collected company into Scavenging Ooze activation. Really? You have a removal spell? Okay, so it's the shock for the removal. Got it. If I hadn't played the land, I could have Thrilling Discovery'd. I guess we Prismari Command and shoot something plus loot. I think I was supposed to hold the land and discard to draw. Yikes. Feel like Scavenging Ooze is probably all she wrote. I guess I can peel exactly Day of Judgment or Wrath of God here. What a weird attack. Onto this in case we draw a looting spell. So I have to jump block, Scoos, and then I could draw a sweeper. One more shot here. Dead to a removal spell here if this last card's other Mythos or something. Opponent's build of Counters Company is sweet. I feel like overall this build felt a little bit medium. I feel like the core issue with what this deck was doing is that we just have so many things that are dependent on the graveyard, and our payoff for using the graveyard as heavily as we are doesn't feel high enough. So, for example, there's the Emergent Ultimatum Mizzix Mastery Unburial Rites deck that when you do the thing, you basically win the game when you use your graveyard. Whereas, like, this deck, there were plenty of games in that, even that last game, right? Where, like, we Unburial Rites something, but it didn't come close to winning us the game, right? Like, our opponent just, like, played a removal spell and what we did didn't matter. And the graveyard is such a contested zone post-board in this non-rotating format. I feel like your payoff needs to be, I basically win the game every time I do my thing, like the Mizzix Mastery deck. Or, where is it? We've played... There's so many decks. We've played this Mardu Reanimator build a few times where, like, this deck post-board, you can basically just get rid of your graveyard component because, like, looting and Unburial Rites are your only cards that explicitly depend on the graveyard. Like, your other threats are more castable, like a 5 mana instead of a 7 mana card. So, it feels like if you're going to be leveraging the graveyard as a resource, you really need to be doing something a little bit more powerful in this format than what this deck was doing. I think if I wanted to play a Jeskai Lorehold build, we played the Jeskai Control build the other day that played 4 mana Chandra in the main and the Cold Steel Heart as a ramp tool. I think I liked that build of kind of Jeskai Control Lorehold turns better than what this build was doing overall. Tasty Arsenic. I think that Arsenic is not all that tasty. Thank you for the brand new tier 1 sub. Welcome to the channel. At any rate, that's going to wrap up for me for today. For folks that are new to the channel, I'm here, generally speaking, I'm not live on the weekends, but I've had a lot of viewer submissions, so I wanted to get through some of them. I'll be live again tomorrow morning. I'm generally live Monday through Friday. I go live about 8 a.m. Central Time, and I play through till about 3 p.m. in the evening. It's about 5 p.m., so I ran a little bit late today as well. Be sure to check out my YouTube channel as well if you're new. Everything that I stream that's worth watching gets up there in their own deck videos, so I post usually between 3 and 5 different deck videos every single day of the week. If you'd like to submit a deck for me to play on stream, you want to support my content a little bit, for a $50 donation, I would love to add one of your decks to the queue and get to it at some point in the next week. We always play it, tweak it, give some feedback on it, what we think works, what we think doesn't work. Hopefully see some of y'all again sometime. Also, I saw some people use the command. I started doing some shorter direct to YouTube content, some top 5 lists of different Magic related things. So I posted a what are my top 5 mystical archive cards for historic video there. It's about 8 minutes long, nice short, concise, bite-sized content. Meep Meep and PNK, thanks for the follows. I'll catch all y'all around tomorrow. Thanks everybody for hanging out through the end. Had a really awesome audience all day today, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, what's left of it. Peace, folks.